Hello and welcome to the Women in ERP podcast, episode 3. I'm Abigail Allman and I'm joined by my co-presenter, Steph Bohr.
Hi everyone, good to be back. Episode 3, we're surviving.
Just
we're
about.
Getting there.
So, Steph, firstly, I guess, how have you been? How's the last couple of weeks been?
I've been good. I had a week off. As you know, there's never enough hours in the day anyway. So I did sadly I didn't go anywhere, but I also think it was quite nice to catch up with life admin, and I spent a bit of time with my nieces and nephews, and I caught up with some friends. And yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, it'd be quite nice to be a lady at the lunches. I'd also, I think that would wear off after a while as well. But yeah, no, it was nice just to, I guess, have a bit of downtime. What about yourself?
It's good. We went away for a week and then got COVID. So,
oh no.
So yeah, I'm suffering at the moment, and the kids are all ill.
Yeah, isn't it mental that you don't have to isolate anymore? Sorry,
just we have been for a week. But yeah,
no, I know it is. Family taken out.
The kids have got really high temperatures, and it's just such a weird thing. It's not like anything I've had before. I just ache everywhere, and that's it. I haven't really had like a, I don't know, spit and spit.
Yeah. Not had the return of the dreaded homeschooling then.
No. In fact, that's the thing.
Line at that.
Our eldest is the only one that hasn't got it. So everyone, So I don't know. She had a lot of problems when she was younger with her chest, and she used to get every virus going. So I don't know if that's just built her immunities up so much now that she just hasn't touched her. So
that's good.
Yeah.
So that means she can go to school anyway, right?
Yeah, so that's
it. One less to worry about.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have a good trip away though?
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Loved it. It did us the world of good actually. It's good to just get away, I think, from life. And
I totally agree. Just a change of scenery. That's the one thing. Although it was nice to stay just off at home, it definitely made me realise I need a proper holiday. I need to lie on a beach somewhere.
I know. We started looking
slowly.
I think we're gonna do Italy. I think.
Oh, wow, that'd be good.
Yeah. What about you? Where are you off?
I'm going to Spain at Easter. There we go. Well, assuming the world, let's not even go there, but let's assume
we're going to encourage airline travel. Everything's going to be fine now.
Everything's going to be fine. Oh dear.
Okay, so today is, hopefully I'll launch this on the day, so International Women's Day. And we're celebrating that we're going to highlight a few sort of key inspirational women in our industry, and we're just going to have a little bit of a chat, I guess, about International Women's Day. So today, as we know, it's a global day celebrating the social, economic and cultural impacts and achievements of women, and it's also an opportunity to rally for women's equality. Steph, do you have any thoughts around International Women's Day?
Well, the theme this year is break the bias. So obviously that's a deliberate bias or an unconscious bias, which it got me thinking quite a lot in terms of there's so much still kind of out there. You think it's 2022. Like, are we still having to kind of, not that, it's so important to have today to just kind of elevate the whole conversation, because it does make you realise just how unequal it is.
Yeah,
and that's across the, obviously we're focused on women, but that's across the whole kind of diversity, inclusion, kind of broad spectrum. Even just yesterday we had I was hosting an event, and I was the only woman in the room out of 15. And you just think, whilst I can hold my own and I'm not particularly, it just blows my mind that it's just so unequal still, and that that's just at the table, but also pay. And I think there's just this pretty more so now unconscious bias than conscious, and don't get me wrong, that will probably vary across the globe, because there's still countries where it as we know, women are kind of treated as a second class citizen, which again, it's 2022. Like,
I know,
it's crazy. What about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, same, I guess. In terms of sort of biases, they're everywhere, aren't they? Still, from a day to day, from telling somebody, to, doll up for a meeting, or things like that really annoy me, or I know, simple things, but also there's another side to it as well, I guess, in terms of, why are we always seen as the ones that have to be at home looking after the kids? And this goes back to our last podcast, actually, when we spoke with Em, and she spoke about how it's always on women to sort the children out and get them ready and look pretty and all of that. But why is that? Yeah. I don't want it all. I love having my kids and the family and all that, and I also love working. And it's also nice for my husband to be main parent at times, and to have that option. I just don't understand why there's still the stigma that women have to be that number one.
It is. I think it's a you can see it changing across the generations, I think. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of work to do, but if I think back to my parents, my mum stayed at home, looked after us, my dad went out, was the breadwinner, and even now it's still very traditional roles in the kind of family. Dad wouldn't have a clue how to cook, and there's not even a comprehension that he would ever have to do that. And then I look at kind of the next generation, and actually, my brother-in-laws are really good with the kids, and they love, they'll let my sisters, or let them, that sounds like an awful way of describing it, but kind of my sisters will go away for the weekend, and there's never even a conversation really about, well, why are you leaving me all weekend with the kids, kind of thing. It's just a given that you both need your own time, and it's important that you spend time with the kids as well as having your own time. It's just, it makes me wonder what the next kind of generation, in terms of, hopefully a lot of that kind of bias, or kind of, I guess it's cultural, society expectation more than anything. So you learn it from a young age.
How do we make a change, I guess, is the point. How do we stop it? Do you pull people up every time they make that assumption, or do we?
Education is important, for sure, but it can't just be at that. Like, it needs to be it kind of sewn into everyday life, and like you say, you can pull people up on it, but you also don't want to be, and again, this, as a woman, I think you don't want to be seen as this crazy feminist either, that's kind of just all like, you can't win.
This infuriates me, because I have found that is, people don't have an opinion of me of that. I'm some crazy feminist. I'm not. I support women wholly, and I guess I'm a feminist in that way, but I'm not out there with my placard hating on men. Love men.
And I think that's the key bit, is it's not just, it's not just a women, it's not just as women that we're here, we need to fix this. I think it's a society as a whole, and it's men and women working together to go, right, actually equality is important, diversity is important, inclusion is important, and kind of, it needs to be everyone working together and just respecting each other. I think that's quite a key bit. And I think, again, it kind of goes back to the olden days, where it was kind of like, it was just expected that women, like you say, would stay at home, not really have any ambition, not have a voice for themselves. And I think that's, it's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, I can stay at home and do that and still work. You can make things work for you, depending on what you want out of life. I'm quite happy with this right now, because it works while the kids are young. Who knows in 5 years' time where I'll be then.
And maybe that's where businesses have changed as well and become more flexible. So more kind of, like you say, you're able to juggle it a bit better. Whereas before it was like traditional 9 to 5 in the office. You had to like take your half hour at lunchtime. Whereas now, I don't know about you, but for me, I can manage my own diary and kind of don't get me wrong, I say manage my own diary is absolutely mental. No. But like I am, what I'm saying is I am in control. So if I wanted to, finish or take 30 minutes to go and do something for myself in the middle of the day, it's not a problem, because you just kind of work it out. And maybe that's kind of where it's helped to bridge that gap with working mothers, for instance, where you can have that kind of best of both worlds.
What about in terms of pay? What can an organisation be doing, or what should they be doing to monitor this?
This really winds me up.
It's the buzzword.
Only because speaking from personal experience, I found out, and not recently, but this was kind of a previous place, I was doing exactly the same job as a male counterpart. I would argue outperforming them, but yeah, I was paid 40% less. 40%, and you just think that's just not even unacceptable. That's just, and actually it made me sever my ties, because I was just a bit like, you don't actually respect me, you're taking advantage. And I think as women, we're not very good at speaking up for ourselves, or just knowing our worth. I know that sounds awful, but yeah,
you're right.
It's funny now when it comes to pay, I make myself think like a man.
Yeah.
In terms of, well, a man wouldn't think twice about asking for a pay rise, or kind of going, well, this is what I'm worth. Whereas I think just as women, we naturally are a bit like, oh, but you've given me a job and I should be thankful for that. And
yeah, and we feel like we have to justify it, don't we?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. I mean, in the past, I've had similar things. I had somebody employed over me that was paid far more than I had. That was just, it was awful. But it was a man.
It's just, yeah. It's, I actually say, as businesses, what can businesses do? I guess obviously there's an onus to, if you're over a certain size, to do the gender pay gap report. So I forget off the top of my head, I should know this, but actually interesting, I was talking to someone the other day and I hadn't realised, and I was actually appalled that the government changed the rules during COVID, that businesses no longer had to kind of offer up a gender pay gap during COVID, which I found, like, I never knew that. I was like, how did that kind of go under the radar? Either. Yeah, I was quite shocked about that. I just think it's things like that don't actually help. And there's some businesses, like my sister works actually for PwC, and they are so transparent about it and kind of open. There's no way that a woman would necessarily be paid less than a man in that situation, just because of how they operate. And I think it is a cultural, like, it's getting the right execs thinking about it, because I think quite a few would actually be shocked if they really knew the truth, particularly in kind of mid to small size organizations where they're probably just not looking at the detail of, again, is this an unconscious type bias? Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, it is, and hopefully we can make some kind of change to that going forward, and the more awareness that we create, the more steps we can make.
Yeah, it's true. I was looking at kind of just stats, which just generally women at board level, and shockingly, and this is from a Deloitte report, overall women hold only 12% of seats on boards worldwide, with
That's
only 4% of those were actually chairing the board. It's shocking, isn't it?
It is shocking.
Billions of people out there.
You know what annoys me though? As women, we have such innate abilities to multitask. We are emotionally intelligent beings. Actually very, very good in business. And for that figure to be so low, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
I actually argue that most women are so busy that we don't have time for any bullshit. So we don't have time to waste. Like, you can see job and do it as well. Now, like, if it's in the diary, it gets done. It's not a case of, well, I'll do that. And I get frustrated with people around me where I'm like, come on, like, because I think it is that classic of, I just think, particularly, as a working mother, like, you've got so many plates that you're spinning, you just don't have time to waste on the wrong stuff. So therefore you're actually pretty more productive, more efficient, and they're getting the more out of you than they do other people that are just kind of moseying along. Yeah, that's it. But, crazy, isn't it?
It is mad. So I guess to counteract that, then let's highlight some of the inspirational female leaders that we would recommend people follow on LinkedIn or Twitter. I don't actually use Twitter myself, so I don't know anybody's handles, but I know all of these people are on LinkedIn. So I'll start with a couple, and I'm going to pull from from your organisation actually,
Okay.
IFS. So Sarah Nicastro.
Yeah,
Love
excellent.
her. She is VP of Customer Advocacy, I believe, and she runs the Future of Field Service podcast.
Absolutely trailblazing in terms of field service, and that podcast is just flying. In
it's
fact,
great.
It's plug,
really
she's
good.
coming on tour. She's coming to Europe on tour. But she's really inspirational, and absolutely everyone should follow Sarah for sure.
Yeah, some of the guests are really really interested as well.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
And it's not just it's not just our customers. She goes across the board, which I think is what makes it unique. It's an industry. She's looking at the industry. She's not focused on certain vendors or whatever. She's great.
Yeah, she's cool. And Caroline Russo as well, VP of Marketing. She's lovely, Caroline. Everyone should follow her.
Yeah.
Go on, you can give it a couple now.
Well, I was going to, for following on from ones close to me or closer, there's Jacqueline de Rojas, who is one of our board members at OFS, but she's also, she runs Tech UK. So again, everyone should follow Jacqueline. She's also on the board of Rightmove. So she's got a fascinating background, honestly. Definitely a plug there.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, and for info, I'd go with Anwen Robinson. She's the SVP for UK and Ireland.
Yeah, Anwen's great.
Yeah, trailblazing. And Shannon Forsyth as well. So she's the VP of global ecosystem. So these are women that are, they're at the top of their game.
Yeah, and they're doing great things, just inspiring the next generation in terms of like the Prince's Trust and raising money for no doubt other upcoming businesses.
Did you see their gin fall?
Yeah, gin fall. I thought that was great. And absolutely agree.
Yeah, cool. Any others from you?
We've got Gemma Copeland at Boomi, who we're hoping will be a guest soon. So keep your eyes out for that one. Eyes or ears? Probably ears. Both. I guess you can watch us on video as well. We have. I'd also suggest following actually Karen Boswell from Baxi, who we work quite closely with her team, and she's fascinating as well to follow. So I definitely recommend Karen.
Brilliant.
In terms of following. I'd also I don't want to make this all about IFS, but Kathy Hall, who is the SVP of customer experience for us. Again, Kathy is phenomenal. So she's previously, been CEO, MD, all around the customer kind of experience area. But Kathy is a great one.
She's a fellow Northerner as well, isn't she, Kathy?
She is a fellow to be appreciated. Oh, my watch is just talking to me. I don't know if you heard that.
That's Kathy.
Did you hear what it said?
It's nice to be appreciated.
There we go. We appreciate all these wonderful women.
We do. A couple of others from me. There's Hoda Mansar. She's head of BPI at SAP. She's got a big following. She's also Forbes top Middle East power businesswoman. She's been that for the past 3 years, so she's quite powerful. Ranjini Sharma as well, who's MD. In terms of sort of a female CIO that I follow, that I find is quite a trailblazer also, is Louise Bunting from Yonder. She's been up for a few awards over the years, Women in Tech.
I would also add to that Ida Murphy, sorry, getting her name wrong, that's not very good, from IPL Plastics, another trailblazing CIO as well. She's great.
Check her out.
Checking her out. And then just more generally in terms of tech, I don't know if you've ever read Lean In with Sheryl Sandberg. She's the COO of, I guess, what is Meta now, so Facebook. I recommend any woman who has career aspirations to read that book. It is amazing. Lean In.
Really? Lean In.
It's all about women, work and the kind of will to lead, and kind of a lot of the unconscious bias within kind of a lot of the exec level positions, and kind of it's all about kind of building your ladders, and it's not you don't necessarily have to go straight up in terms of what you think a career path is. It's all about kind of having this broad network of women leaning in hence why it's called Lean In, and kind of like expanding your network and helping each other, and kind of never turning down an opportunity that isn't necessarily kind of what you see as your natural progression. It's fascinating. Honestly,
it's like my life at the moment.
Yeah. Well, considering she's worth 1.8 billion now, I think there's a lot to learn from. I'll just take the 1.8 million. It doesn't need to be the billion.
Fair few Chanel bags there.
Yeah, I mean, she's not only she's come up through McKinsey and then Google, and then Facebook Meta, but she's also on the board of like Walt Disney, Women for Women International. Wow. Fascinating. I follow her on, to be honest, most social media.
We'll put a link. Great. We'll put a link to her book. Yeah,
really good.
And we'll link everyone as many as we can. A couple from me, just to sort of a final plug. There's Tanya Powell, CTO of Coding Black Females. Okay. So that's a new organisation supporting Black women in coding.
That's interesting, because funny enough, again, it sounds like I'm a real geek. I was looking at kind of like just generally at statistics, and within tech, there's only 19% of the workforce that are women, and within that, only 3% are Black, Hispanic, and 5% Asian, God. Which I thought was shocking.
It's disgusting.
Like, honestly,
it's disgusting.
Shocking.
Yeah, it is.
And again, it's like,
is that because they people aren't getting the same opportunities as men at an early age? Is it because of just racism?
It's that whole diversity and inclusion agenda, isn't it? Like, obviously we're very focused on women, particularly at International Women's Day, but I think there's absolutely a broader discussion around kind of the subsets of that, and how do we help kind of raise kind of the next generation that is more diverse? Because I 100% wholeheartedly believe the more diverse your team is, or your company, the more you get, like the more successful you are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
And just one final nod to Anna Brailsford, who's the CEO at Code First Girls. Now they offer free coding courses for adult women like us. We can go on there and learn how to code. Yes, they do. They do a lot in support of getting women into technology and skilling them up. So yeah, she's cool. Again, I want to try and get her on our show actually at some point.
Yeah, that would be really good. That sounds fascinating, because that's again a whole kind of opportunity for women that just it goes back honestly to being a kid, doesn't it, in terms of the kind of stereotypes that are put on children. Well, the girls, even so much as computers, that's a boy type thing.
It's still going on. Honestly, my daughter will come home and say things like that, and I'm like, no, who's told you that? You can play football, that's fine.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, isn't it? It just shows you just how much work there is still left to do. But we should also celebrate just how far we've come as well.
Yes, and
we're not having to burn our bras. That's always a positive.
Although I'd like
expensive otherwise. Yeah. But it's funny, isn't it? But I mean, we have to salute all the women that have got as far as we have come already, but there's still more work to do, and I think we've got our flag and we're on our way.
Yeah, so #breakthebias. Let us know how you can help to do that, male or female. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great International Women's Day. And thank you for listening.
Thanks everyone. See you next time.
Cheers. Bye.